Yeah, I think there are two issues here. One is a social, political, economic one. It's a question of social priorities. If society actually recognized the needs of children, we would have totally different set of social policies. And that's beyond the power of individual parents. That's really is a social, political, economic question, a cultural question. And the fact is, this society does not value children. Not if you actually look at resources and understanding and energy. So that's a social question. On the individual level, however, here's what I'm saying. That, again, I repeat my earlier point. Human beings evolved for millions of years. Humanoids have been on hominins have been on Earth for millions of years. Our own species, Homo sapiens, have been here for close to 200,000 years. All those eons of evolution, throughout all those eons of evolution, until a very short time ago, children spent their whole time with the adults, in the company of adults, nurtured by adults, supervised by adults, taught by adults, nurtured by adults. So now we have a society that's completely torn asunder the evolutionally determined family attachments. You have to be aware of it, and we have to replace that attachment. So if parents are going to be away from their kids the whole day, they have to work extra hard at the end of the day to connect with their kids again. In the daycares, it should not just be an issue of physical care and behavior control, but those daycare workers need to be trained in attachment relationships so they provide healthy adult attachments for those kids. The average teacher, the average daycare worker, the average kindergarten caregiver doesn't get a single lecture on attachment, let alone on trauma. So that we need to become much more attachment aware. If we are, we can compensate as best we can for the loss of attachments, but we're not. So when you haven't seen your kids your whole day and the kid is 2 years old, don't assume that you're still their parent. You have to kind of bring them back into relationship with you and spend more time relating and just being rather than just physically taking care of. So what I'm saying is we have to centralize attachment again. And by the way, why should I be telling this to a British audience? The great work on attachment was done in Britain by John Bowlby in the 1940s and 50s and beyond. And he's the great pioneer of attachment. You know, just listen to Bowlby, for God's sakes. Listen to Winnicott, another great British figure, so that we have this knowledge, but we don't transmit that knowledge to teachers, to physicians, to psychologists, let alone to parents, kindergarten workers, and so on. And one more thing. Adults who work with children tend to be the poorest paid in many ways. Yet they're doing the most important work. We should value these people, train them, cherish them, and compensate them. That's a social issue. That's not the fault of individual parents. But then we wonder, why are these so many kids in trouble? Because we're not meeting their needs, that's why.
I mean, you mentioned putting children in schools and daycare, but when you get to actual school level, their children are spending 4 or 5 or 6 hours a day sitting in classrooms, concentrating, being assessed. We have a results-driven system in the UK now. They're working towards exams. And is it surprising that so many struggle to focus in that kind of environment? Could some of these symptoms that you describe be to do with our exam-led academic system?
First of all, no child is meant to sit there for all that time. Again, if you look at human evolution, how did we evolve? Running around, playing, and we learned through play. Actually, play is much more important, by the way, for healthy brain development, according to brain science, than academic learning. Children who play will learn really well. But the schools emphasize achievement in order to fit kids into an industrial capitalist system where they'll be willing or at least acquiescent employees. But that's got nothing to do with the needs of the child. Those children need to be active, moving around, playing a lot. Number one. Number two, there's such a thing as evaluation stress. This has been studied in adults. Basically, if you're going to be evaluated, you're stressed and you don't think this clearly. So the very thing that's designed to measure your brain capacity undermines it. So these standardized tests and so on, total nonsense from the point of view of healthy child development. But try and tell a school board that, because they're trying to show results and grade scores and all that. That has nothing to do with the needs of the child.